Hello, very good morning to everyone. This is the third webinar, Big Science Business Forum. Welcome to everyone. Today we have the pleasure to have with you a really hot topic, interesting one for Big Science, which is the technology transfer. First, I will go to some practicalities. The audience has the right to make questions to the speakers using the questions and answer module. Please do not use the chat module, use the questions and answers module. After each speaker, you will have the opportunity to make these questions. In addition, I have to say that all presentations will be uploaded today, and you will be able to download them from tomorrow on the registration platform. In addition, the webinar is going to be recorded, and you will also have access to the record session. But this is only going to be allowed for registered participants. For the moment, we have 439 registered people, so this is already a great success. I'm going now through the agenda, my name is Jorge Lopez from CDTI in the team of organizing BSBF, and you have also on the screen the agenda of today. We are going to have a short presentation from myself giving the welcome and some slices on basic things on technology transfer, just to give the basics of today's discussions. Then after me, Asunción Gómez from UPM will give more details on the theoretical and part of technology transfer applied to big science. So then we will have the point of view of the academia. Then we'll have a tour de table or an interview managed and moderated by Paolo Curto from PERIA, the Pan-European Network of ILOs, in which we'll have participation from Fusion for Energy with Victor Saez, CERN, with Nick Siogas, from ESA, with Niels Eldering, and from EMBL for Jurgen Bauer. After that, I will take again the floor just to explain what is the technology transfer track of the BSBF, how to participate, and what are the advantages you may gain by participating in that. And I will go in step by step in the web and in a presentation just to show you what is important in the technology transfer track in the BSBF. Then we will cool down a little bit with a pool. We will use a Slido tool. So get ready your mobiles to log in with your mobiles in a pool using Slido, and we will make some questions on how to improve technology transfer from academic scientific institutions to industry. And to finalize, also we'll have the luck to get the point of view of industry, which is of course very important. And we'll have companies that already have been registered and using the technology transfer track of BSBF, submitting proposals, which are ABS from Miguel Carrera, which by the way is going to be the last one because of availability. T6, we have the luck to have Steve Kyle with us, and also from Leading, we have Raul Amarel. With this, we will jump into the conclusions, in which Roberto Trigo will make the conclusions of the webinar, and also will make some important announcements about the BSBF. So be aware that at the end of the webinar, you will have important announcements there. Okay, so With this, I will immediately jump into my presentation. So first, a brief introduction about what is BSBF and who is involved in BSBF. BSBF is a business-oriented congress, a business-oriented event in which focus on technology and detailed technology, in which there will be meetings between research infrastructure, which in the field of big science, market, and industry. It's a really interactive event in which industry and big science organizations meet and talk about opportunities and future. The last edition was in Copenhagen in 2018 with a it was a great success. The next one, we expect to have 120 delegates, and we have been analyzed the future markets in the next years, and we expect to have 38,400 million euros in the period 2020-2024. So it's going to be a great event with plenty of opportunities for industry and for big science organizations. Who is behind this organization? We, CDTI, the Spanish Innovation Agency, and ILO for the main European big science organizations, we are organizing the day-by-day Of course, we also have co-organizers, very important big science organizations, which is Fusion for Energy, CERN, EMBL, ESRF, ESS, ESO, ESA, ILL, European XFEL, FAIR, and ESCA. As you can see, the main important big science organizations in Europe. Also, we have the great pleasure to have the collaboration with PERIA, of PERIA, the Pan-European Network of Industry Liaison Officers. Where we are going to have the next BSBF? In Granada. Why? Not only because it's a beautiful city, it's full of cultural events and cultural sightseeings. It's also because it's a really a city oriented to science and oriented to culture and innovation. And in this, and also because it's a European single candidate to host IFMIF DONS, which is a test facility for radioactive materials. Very important for the fusion development. Who is sponsoring us? It's fair to give our thanks from the organization to our sponsors. We have gold sponsors, silver sponsors, and bronze sponsors. AVS, Added Value Solutions, Cadinox, ENSA, University Polytechnic of Madrid, through its node of big science, Tesella from Altran Group, and ECTS, which is Infraestructuras Científico-Técnicas Singulares from the Spanish government. Also have other sponsorships, which is Danish Technology Institute and Caudal. Thank you to all of them. Now we are going to briefly introduce what is technology transfer. You all know these things, but it's good to go from the basics. Technology transfer is a process of transferring technology from a person or an organization that owns, very important, and holds this technology or knowledge to another one. A technology transfer may occur between two parties. These two parties could be universities, research infrastructure, industry, any size, small industry, big industry, and it is done formally or informally, and in both types, openly or secretly. Technology transfer, and this is very important and the key of the technology transfer, occurs by agreed effort to share. If there is agreed effort to share, skill, knowledge, technologies, manufacturing methods, samples, and facilities among parties, then we have technology transfer. The objective of technology transfer is to ensure that scientific and technological developments are accessible to a wider range of users who can then further develop or exploit the technology in new products, processes, applications, materials, or services. I can see two possible ways of the technology transfer. What is called horizontal one, which is the movement of technologies sometimes in a same organization or as in a same academic atmosphere from one area domain to a market to another, which is the process of applying known technologies to a new and novel applications or markets. And the vertical one, which is a technology transfer that occurs when technologies are moved to applied research centers or research and development departments and products. Because products and manufacturers routinely seek for new technologies in order to improve the features and functions of their products. There is a demand of new products with new capabilities, and that's why product developments are looking for new technologies that could satisfy these demands. To meet existing and evolving demands of the market for better performance and new functionalities, companies have to make a decision, either to develop a new technology in-house or to look for a technology outside and rely on technology transfer. We all know about these diagrams. We all have to have in mind in technology transfer the level of technology readiness level, which is a scale that goes from basic technology, TRL1, TRL2, up to system test, launch, and operational technology, which is TRL9. It is clearly defined. Sometimes there are discrepancies on the definition, but we all agree more or less on the TRL levels and their definition by NASA or by European Commission or by ESA or other relevant organization. Also, it is very well known the Death Valley curve, in which it is represented in horizontal, the TRL level, and then you also have resources in the vertical axis. If you go to the top, we see which is in lower TRLs, the government, it is funding, it is more active, and in TRLs, in the higher TRLs, the private sector, it is more active. Also, the key partners in this technology, you can see that in lower TRLs, it's more governmental labs and academia. And then when you increase TRL, high growth entrepreneurs, small business takes over with more risk, but more perspectives of developing products. And at the end, large business and companies incorporate those new ideas in their traditional products. So having seen this as a general ideas that we have to take in mind today, let's focus on the technology transfer in the big science market. In the big science market, we have in the middle the big science organizations, in which they have their requirements for their procurements, and also they create their knowledge that could be extracted to the market. So big science or research infrastructures are in the middle, and there are three types of technology transfer flows. First one, from industry as a supplier. Maybe an industry has developed a technology for another market or for another solution, and then sees an opportunity having looking the procurement of a certain big science organization to apply this technology into a new domain, which is big science. And then this is a technology transfer from industry to the big science organization. Also, there are other two ways of technology transfer. One is in which the knowledge is performed and created in the big science organization. And then there is an agreement to create a new startup, a new opportunity jointly with a company or with a new company creation, in which focusly only to develop that particular technology. And lastly, it is the role of industry also to get the knowledge from big science organizations, and industry as a co-developer or developer of products is also a foreseen flow of technology transfer from big science organizations. Okay, with this introduction, I think we have given in some way a first step on today's today's subject, and I am pleased to give the floor after me to Asunción Gómez Pérez from University Polytechnic of Madrid. She's Vicerrectora of Investigación in UPM. And also, it's fair to mention that in the University Polytechnic of Madrid, there is an important big science group, very active in big science. And today, I'm pretty sure that Asunción will give us more insight on the theoretical part of the technology transfer in big science. Asunción, thank you very much for being with us. You have the floor. Go ahead.
Okay, Jorge, thank you very much for this invitation from BSBF and also CDT. I'm going to explain today how UPM is working with big science organization, and mainly I will present our strategy based on several years of experience. So the first thing to say is just to provide one slide about who we are. So UPM is the main technological university in Spain. We are number 79 of the employability in QS ranking, and our research is of high impact. And just showing some data, we are the first university in Spain in attracting research and development European funds. So we got more than 100 millions in age 2020 projects. We are also number one in university patent application. We have a long record with contracts with different kind of industries in all areas of engineering and architecture. We are number one on that, and also number one in new technology venture creation in Spain. We have 2 international excellent campuses, and you can see our size of researchers with almost 3,000 faculty academics, and at this moment we have almost 500 contracts based on projects. And regarding the research infrastructure, we have 21 research centers and institutes, and almost 200 research groups, which are where research is done in a more focused space. The UPM has a long tradition in big science. We have been participating in more than 30 years in big science projects. During the last 15 years, we have already signed 120 projects across different tenders with different institutions like CERN, ITER, ESA, European XFEL, and others. And from this set of research institutes, 4 of them are working with big science organizations, and 4 research institutes are working with big science organizations, 6 research centers, and 13 research groups. So you can see also that the topic, so with CERN, we were working in telemanipulation devices and haptic interfaces or experiments. TARC, with ESA, we have the EUSOC activities. We are also working in solar cells architecture for space application with FAIR and with others. So there you can see some of the areas of expertise in which we have our projects. 3 years ago, we realized that the UPM experience working with a big science organization was distributed across the UPM, and that there were just, let's say, few collaboration between UPM researchers applying for projects and tenders in these initiatives. So at this moment, we started the UPM Big Science Strategy in order to unify our collaboration and our work with this institution in order to maximize the UPM contribution to big science and also the collaboration with big science organizations. So the goal was to identify internally at UPM some spaces where researchers coming from heterogeneous research areas could collaborate, creating a kind of internal networks and always being respectful with the plural identity of the researchers on their respective fields. So based on that, we started an inside strategy just to know who was whom in UPM, and based on that we started to create this kind of map where we this is a snapshot of the map, but you can see it's on the center, and in that case we have already identified different research groups from an institution, from different schools in different topics, just collaborating with the different institutions like CERN and so on and so forth. So the traditional technology transfer cycle at the university is that we are using several instruments in order to transfer technology from UPM to our partnerships by means of technology and innovation workshops, some kind of collaborative projects where we share the intellectual property rights, commercialization of our technology through technology licensing or even though technology sale, and also through several entrepreneurship programs where from these research groups and research centers, technology, I mean, small, medium, EVTs are created. In the same way, partners are requesting collaboration with UPM, and for that we also have open innovation programs where partners and companies can subcontract some kind of or contract some kind of research project to UPM. We also go with partners to public-private collaboration calls that are open in Spain and also in Europe. We work with our partners in incubation centers, and also we have joint technology centers with some companies. And then we realized after doing this map that we needed to adapt the big science framework and the collaboration also to the UPM big science, because some of these instruments require a further analysis. So by doing that, what we did is to study and to explore more programs in the European framework programs. Also, the public and private funding, and analyze how we can collaborate in these fields with the companies in order to go and to apply to the tenders given by the big science organizations, and at the same time presenting UPM skills and capacities as a whole in this context of the UPM Big Science initiative. So we also foresee that UPM can go into these tenders with our partners, but at the same time UPM researchers can execute their experiments in these big science organizations. So by doing it this way, we have classified 3 types of participation. The first one comes when the initiative comes from the big science organization. The second one is when the initiative comes from the academia. And the third one is when we can jointly go into big science organization tenders in a joint collaboration framework with companies. In that case, as it was mentioned before by Jorge, the intellectual and industrial intellectual property rights is crucial in all this stuff. So when the initiative comes from the big science organization, usually the big science organization presents a specific needs, and then the university collaborate with the big science organization in order to identify a small contract in order to carry out and to explore the project. And usually we provide some kind of prototypes for them. This implies also that sometimes the university is involved in tendering processes in order to develop and maintain the technology after the prototype is delivered. So let's say we have here two phases. The first one is to create a small contract with the VCO, and once the project and the prototype is delivered, then we go into the tendering process in order to maintain the technology that was created. The second initiative, or the second scenario, comes from the academia, and in that case, most of the time it comes because the university proposed the implication of one of these business science organizations into one European projects, and in particular, it is also important the initiatives under the Marie Curie program, ITNs, in order to strengthen the collaboration through PhD students and also postdoc. So in that case, the university and the big science organization are involved in the consortium. The university most of the time develops technology that is transferred to one or several industrial partners in this consortium if we are working in European projects, and then the industrial partners provides the developments to the big science organization. So participating in these big projects from Europe and also in Marie Curie's initiatives allows the transfer from the university into the company, and from the company or industrial partner into the VCO. So you can also see there some examples of projects that we have already run. And the third scenario is when the initiative comes from the academia and the big science organization. So in this scenario, it is the big science organization who propose some tenders, and then a consortium is created in order to satisfy or to apply to the tender. In that case, it is crucial for the university to identify and to clearly the intellectual property rights associated to the technologies and also knowledge of our researchers. And sometimes the university developed a spin-off just because it is easier to go into the maintenance of the outcomes that were delivered. So in that case, it is also the spin-off who contributes also to the big science organization through several contacts. So in that case, we don't need, as Jorge mentioned before, a big organization in order to collaborate with, in order to reach the big science organization and to be in a tender, but through the spin-off, we can also do it. So in that cases, the intellectual property right managements are crucial. Sometimes in the first case, when the initiative comes from the big science organization, the university needs to adapt to the general conditions of the contract. So generally speaking, the intellectual property rights belongs to the big science organization, but the university can use and or commercialize sometimes the results. When the initiative comes from the the academia. So in that case, inside university, we have the unit for the management of the intellectual property rights, and for that we have the units for going through all the managerial stuff of creating the patent, registering the works, taking care of the brand, and so on and so forth. And when the university creates and a spin-off, in our case, we have a contract between the university and the spin-off in order to allow the spin-off to exploit the results. So which one are the lessons learned during all these 30 years, and in particular based on the approach that we took in the last 4 years in the Upm Big Science initiative? So the first one is the strategy. This is an important piece of the research and innovation strategy of the university, and this is crucial. The second point is that the communication between the academia and the big science and organization usually requires sometimes collaboration frameworks, legal aspects, technology licensing schemes, and in that case, instead of going project by project, it is much better, in order to speed up the processes, to go into joint previous, let's say, high-level agreements between the BSO and the university. The academia also requires specialized resources in order to work with the big science organization. In particular, we dedicated resources and people in order to facilitate our researchers to apply to tenders, and at the same time to announce the different calls that the big science organizations are providing. And we also need some kind of networking platforms and agents that also facilitate the creation of this ecosystem, because the ecosystem is large, and in big universities like us, I mean, it should be good to have some help from third parties. It's important to say that UPM, as Jorge mentioned, is also participating in the Big Science Business Forum in 2021, and you can see in these slides the main sector for collaboration. We have also created a leaflet and a booklet with the UPM capacities and skills in big science, with the expertise of our research centers, institutes, and groups. And this is the outcome of this initiative that we started 4 years ago, and that has allowed us to increase our collaboration and participation with these big science organizations, either by executing our experiments in this big science organization, and also by applying to different tenders that they are launching, and we go with our main partners into this kind of tenders. So thank you very much, and I open for any question.
Thank you very much, Asunción. Thank you very much for your intervention. I would like to highlight your conclusions, very important ones. Also, the different ways in which the university managed the technology transfer. And also the key point aspect that you mentioned about how to manage industrial property rights. Thank you very much. Now it's time for questions from the audience to Asunción.
Yes, thank you, Asunción. We have received one question for you. Could you please open up a little bit what is behind the technology and innovation workshops and the open innovation programs for technology transfer?
Yes. So so the workshops is that when we have a strong connection with the market, as we said, and sometimes some companies comes to us and they want to say, I would like to organize a focus workshop at the university in a particular topic. So let's suppose that we select basic materials technologies from these slides. So what we do is to launch a call to all our researchers working on basic materials technologies, which is the case, and we organize one session, one morning session, with participation from all of our researchers, presenting all the capacities and skills, and also the company that launched the specific workshop. Then we presents what the university, what the company is looking for the university. So at the end we finish with some kind of matching between the topics that we provide and our skills and what is required from the company. And these kind of forums are always multidisciplinary, in the sense that researchers from all areas of architecture and engineering, in that case, would be related with basic materials technology, would join the event. And this provokes that after this kind of meetings, it is usual that the company provides some kind of open innovation challenges to the university. Just focus on what they have heard, and they propose these challenges, and then we opened a new instrument, which is we launch the challenge, the groups and research centers applied, and there is a joint committee between the company and the university that selects the more innovative ideas for the project. And after that, usually the company funds one generously, we hope, the one or two projects.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing with us how the UPM is working on technology transfer. Very interesting, I think. No more questions for you. So,
okay.
Jorge.
Thank you very much, Asunción. Now I am going to give the floor to Paolo from PERIA. You remember the Pan-European Network of ILOs, who is going to drive and moderate the next section of the webinar between big science organizations. Paolo, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Hello, everybody. As you know, my name is Paolo Cunzo. I am the chair of PERIA Network, the European Research Infrastructure Alliance Association. I am also the Italian ILO, Industry Liaison Officer for Fusion for Energy and ITER, and I work at ENEA nearby Rome. ENEA is the Italian Agency for New Technology, Energy and Economic Development. I always manage issues about industrial promotion, innovation, technology transfer, and in particular for technology transfer, I am the national referent for programs of technology transfer, such as Fusion and Fusion for Energy. And moreover, I am a member of PERIA Technology Transfer Working Group for the BSBF Technology Transfer Track. That is just as a short introduction of myself, so everybody knows which is my kind of job, which kind of role I play. And I'm really happy to be here to moderate this roundtable on technology transfer. In fact, I think that in this period, particular period, crisis period, such as now, it's really important to give opportunities to industries, small and medium enterprises, to spread their opportunities in different sectors in the way that is possible to contribute to have an increase, to exit from the crisis that the pandemic comes. So, as you know, the technology transfer is a mission to support, to try to find innovation and technology, and to spread also competitiveness from the European industries. For that reason, we think that to have an opportunity to put together in the same webinar different kind of presentation from different big science organizations, giving details, information about technology transfer programs or activities, could be really, really interesting for many of the main stakeholders that are in this webinar. So for researchers, for industries, for SMEs, but also for laboratories and from industry. For that reason, I think that it's really important that now to pass directly, giving the word for the presentation to our speakers. Just keep in mind that each one will have only 5 minutes for their presentation. And for this, and I will collect, me or Belen will collect the question for each speaker. At the end of his presentation, we are going to have this kind of question. So I will follow the agenda order. So I will ask to Victor to share Victor Sites to share the video. It's fine. And while we are waiting that Victor sharing the video, I want to just to introduce his background. So I give the floor to Victor Sites, that he is the group leader of market analysis at Fusion for Energy, the agency responsible to manage the contribution of the European Union to the ITER project, with the aim to demonstrate the scientific and technical feasibility of fusion energy. Victor built his experience in intellectual property and technology transfer at the European Commission, where he dealt with IP law drafting, IP-related aspects of the Internet, and the management of the portfolio of IP rights of the European institutions. The market analysis group is responsible for technology transfer, the management of IP within Fusion for Energy, contractual activities, and management of FOE supply chain. I leave the floor to Victor for maximum 5 minutes. Please, Victor.
Thank you, Paolo. Thank you for your complete presentation. So, well, you know already who I am. So since I have only 5 minutes, I will try to fly over my slides, knowing that we will have some more time later in case that you have any questions. So as Paolo was mentioning, we are in charge at Fusion for Energy of building the machine that you are seeing on the screen. This is a fusion reactor at Tokamok, where we will demonstrate that fusion is a source of energy that can be used economically in the future. This project is being built together with other parties, with China, Japan, India, the Republic of Korea, so South Korea, the Russian Federation, and the USA. Europe is in charge of half of the project. The budget that we have been employing for this in the last 13 years, it was around 6.6 billion euros. So for the next term, 21-27, we intend to expend 5.2 billion euros, which will make an average of around 750 million euros per year. I might say that, well, we have not been very much affected by COVID during the last year. We managed to maintain the operations at the right level, and our expenditure is not being affected either. Actually, we believe, and well, I think that this is a common knowledge, that in times of distress, public expenditure may help to maintain the economy, and this is how we intend to proceed. So we are not going to reduce the expenditure within the next few years, and for sure, we have a deadline to meet and a machine to be built. So where is intellectual property and technology transfer falling in this picture? So one of the industrial policy objectives that are behind Fusion for Energy, so we are not only here to create the machine, we are also here to foster European innovation and competitiveness in key emerging technologies. So it is not that technology transfer is coming on top of our obligations, it is actually one of the main important elements of our obligations. How to do this? Well, first, when you are developing a first-of-a-kind technical solution, a first-of-a-kind Tokamok fusion reactor, you well, you have to develop new technologies. So this is coming by itself. And we try to create the conditions for those technologies to be transferred. As Jorge was mentioned, this horizontal transfer of technologies. So we are very much a supporter of the Big Science projects and Big Science Business Forum. We are very active in this field, and you will see that you will see our technologies being used in the Big Science market. How we are proceeding with technology transfer. So we have a 4-year program that was signed last year. We are on the 2nd year now, that it is being implemented through a framework contract with a group of technology brokers that you can see on the screen. So the objectives of this project is to identify the success stories first, so to show to the world, to the society, how the cooperation with our project, our program, is increasing competitiveness, growth, business, and employment. But we also want to nurture a technology transfer culture and to manage creating value to the industry and creating motivation of companies to work with FRE. For this, I may say that we are extremely flexible when it comes to companies working with FRE, willing to use the technologies that they have produced within our project. So far, we have never said no to a company which had an idea to use their technologies. So we believe that this can help for for having contracts that are more attractive. What we do with our project technology transfer. So first of all, we have created an online marketplace that you can see on the screen, where we are putting the portfolio of our technologies. We are having news about incoming events, contact details, webinars, and so on. Webinars. This is an important element for us. I think it is very fashion these days. Some people may be a bit fed up of so many webinars, to be honest. I'm sorry for that, but it is the only way to proceed. We are doing some ad hoc webinars to share with the industry which are the ideas on these specific topics. So for instance, we will have an advanced manufacturing webinar, and simulation modeling webinar, and remote handling and motion control webinar, that are focused on these technologies and on the technology transfer within these fields. So I hope that you will be attending, some of you that are interested in the field. Finally, as I was mentioning, we have a group of brokers. An important element before closing, this is my last slide. We are announcing now these days the Innovation Award. We have you have until the 18th of March, 1 month to go from now, the possibility to submit your proposal for a 10,000 euros reward. We are asking you to tell us how are you using the technologies developed in the fusion field? How are you using in another field? So we are not asking for something very, very complicated. We are not asking for a very bureaucratic, big document. It is something very simple. You tell us how the technologies that you have developed for the fusion field are being used beyond it, and which is the potential socioeconomic impact. You have on the screen all the information to download the information. In the PDF, which is going to be distributed, you have the links embedded, so you can click on the PDF and go to the right place. And I think I was 1 minute over time only, sorry for that, but this is our contact details. During the Q&A, well, I will be ready to give you any answers if you have questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. As you know, that all the presentation will be available at the end of this webinar. So if you need any kind of information, then you can take that from there, and there will be contacts everywhere. I don't see any question from Victor.
Yeah,
Please, Anna.
yes, Paulo, we have received a general question that is not related to technology transfer, but that is a main concern nowadays. The question is there any estimation on how COVID may impact the procurement budget for large scientific facilities? So maybe some of our representatives could comment on this.
Do you think that I answered this? Because I
Yes,
was
yes.
trying to address.
Please,
Okay,
Please.
yes,
so
please.
from my side, it is covered. Yeah, because actually I was mentioning that it is not affecting us, that we want to make to be a vector of growth. So we are not intending to cut the budget whatsoever.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Victor. So we will follow the agenda and invite Nick Ziogas to share the video. I am going to introduce him so that Nick is responsible for digital science application with his CERN's Knowledge Transfer Group. The Knowledge Transfer Group's main mission is to disseminate CERN expertise and innovative technologies outside the lab, mainly to the member states industry, and thus create societal impact. This mission also includes the management of CERN's intellectual property and definition of policies relating to the IP. In the 9 years that he was working with KT, Nick has been at the origin of many exciting, diverse, and often complex projects, which gives him a broad perspective of the challenge involved. His background is physics and computer science, and before his assignment, he was working in CERN's IT department. I would like to leave the floor to Nick and for 5 minutes, please.
Thank you, Paulo. Thank you, Jorge, and good morning, everyone. So in the 5 minutes that I have, I will give you a brief overview of CERN KT activities, and I want to focus on some concrete examples. But first, I think it's important just to remind some, oops, I'm sorry, my presentation jumped some. I assume most of you are familiar with CERN. CERN was founded, but it's important to remind some key numbers. CERN was founded in 1954 in the aftermath of the Second World War, when most of European industry and science was destroyed. Today, we are 23 member states, 2,500 staff, and about 12,500 scientists that come from all over the world. And our budget is about 1.1 billion Swiss francs. So what is the CERN mission is, of course, science, but also the advancement of technology in pursuing our science. But however, training the new generation of scientists is also an important part of our mission. And we achieve all that by creating big collaborations, which actually, I must say, work remarkably well. More closely to trust transfer, as Paulo said in my introduction, our mission is to maximize the return to our member states, into the societies, by transferring our technologies and know-how. Promote also the CERN as a center of excellence, and importantly enough also to prove that, demonstrate that the investments in big science and fundamental science research are really worth and worthwhile. Right, at CERN we have basically three main areas of excellence, which is accelerators, detectors, and computing, which we're using in order to pursue our scientific goals. And these actually create innovation and technologies that then can translate into advancements in the medical field, for example, in industrial automation, and in other societal fields. How do we do that? We have a number of tools. As mentioned earlier also by Jorge, knowledge transfer happens in a sort of organic way, but we have been certainly investing to accelerate this process. And we do this by collaboration agreements, by R&D collaborations, by pure licensing and transfer of our technologies. We also foster collaborations and networks with other knowledge transfer organizations and also with our member states. We also have internally a seed fund in order to take technologies which might not be transferable, not at a high level enough to promote them at a level that industry might have an interest. And also importantly enough, we are supporting entrepreneurship in many ways. We also have in a number of our member states business incubators of CERN technologies in associations with local structures there. and in many other ways. Now, as I said, I want to give you some concrete examples. The first one is the first 3D color X-ray of a human that you see here in the picture, that was actually made by Mars Bioimaging, which is a startup, and it's based on the CERN readout chip family Metic, which was actually originated in one of the experiments in 1995. That's back to 1995. On different registries, very recently we are in a collaboration with Zenscat, which is a company, a Volvo company, and these guys are trying to find a European solution to autonomous driving. They are using deep learning on edge devices, deep learning technologies on edge devices that we are actually developed for the CMS experiment, and is actually a very active collaboration. Another example is our collaboration with Bundesdruckerei. Actually, this Bundesdruckerei is the company that is creating secure solutions for digital and analog identity. They're actually the company that built our euros and secure our passports. And with them, we're exploring links between quantum physics and identities and trust. Another example I want to bring, which also is very close to my heart, is the transfer of high performance and high stability power converters for magnets. This is a recent example is the collaboration with Synchronous Soleil, which is a public company close to Paris, which is a light source. But we are also working with industrial partners to transfer this technology to other infrastructures as well. And I talked earlier about the incubator centers that we have. I want to give an example of a company that is in the French, that passed by the French business incubator. This is Terabi, and these guys develop sensors also in collaboration with CERN. We also put these sensors in drones. And recently we provided a technology to them, and they modified one of the modules that they had in order to create a social distancing monitoring device that actually will also be deployed at CERN. I'm looking at my time. I have one more slide, which is also a company from the French business incubator, which is PlanetWatch. These guys are trying to build a real-time air quality monitoring system around the globe based on sensors that are actually put out there by citizens. And their idea is to create an immutable repository of data of air quality that could be used by anyone for either industrial, commercial, but also policymakers in order to improve their policies with regards with air quality. So this is all I can say in my 5 minutes. Thank you. And you can actually see you can follow us on different social media and check our website. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nick. If you want, we can exit from the video. And there is some question.
Yes, we have received several questions. First one, how long does it take at CERN, and what way is it the easiest way to approach them? Who are the best contacts? If you want to conclude, sign an umbrella general framework agreement, for example, for custom measurements services provided by certain company institutes to CERN.
So if the question concerns interest in technologies or expertise that we have at CERN, then you can contact directly in knowledge transfer. If it concerns procurement, we will pass it to our procurement colleagues. But if I understand the question for knowledge transfer, what we have realized lately is that pushing technologies out, basically pushing a solution out to industry, doesn't really work. So what we do is we do the opposite. Our approach is to talk about challenges that the industry have, and then try to brainstorm and find solutions based on what we have here. So I would say the easiest way is to contact us, and then we can organize some brainstorming session, listen to your challenges, and then think on our side, and then investigate if we have technology or expertise that could help you. And then concluding a framework agreement is actually part of what follows, either if it's a framework agreement or a licensing agreement, or whatever contractual way to respond to the challenge. This is something that we are very flexible and open to do.
Thank you very much for your answer. One more question for you. It is very usual that the intellectual property developed by a company in a project, even declare background IP in some public contracts, belongs to the customer. Science infrastructure. This makes difficult to use it in the future. Any option to improve or include clauses free of charge for future developments?
Right. This is a good point, because it's something that it's something that we are actually trying also to link more the technology transfer that happens via procurement to actually technology transfer from us to the companies. So indeed, our general procurement rules, if a company develops something, it has a contract with CERN, then the IP would belong to CERN. But we are also adding knowledge transfer clauses in a lot of our contracts now to discuss with the company how we can provide either a license or the right to use it. So I would say that if a company is interested in something like that, they should make clear their interest to use the technology developed for other purposes. And we have done that in the past, and we're actually doing it also with other companies. So it's important to state that, make that interest very clear, and then we as technology discuss with our procurement colleagues and the company to find the best solution.
Thank you for your answer. One more question related to the first one. For established CERN subcontractors, what will be the best contact to sign the general framework agreement, and how long it takes for agreement to be processed or signed?
I am not sure if this is a knowledge transfer question. It's more for our procurement colleagues. So I can take this. If you can have the name of the person, I can refer this to my procurement colleagues, because I cannot really answer this question.
Okay. One more, and I think it's the last. In the past, you organized a hackathon for superconducting magnets. Are you going to repurpose this kind of initiatives?
Yes, the hackathons are also part of our initiatives to promote the knowledge transfer. But I take also the interest on this specific topic.
Okay, thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the questions. I'm going to share my screen.
Okay, Nick, just one general question that we did before. There was some particular impact from the COVID pandemic in your activities in general?
Okay, I think one of the question was concerning procurement. Obviously, some activities have slowed down, but mostly I would say there's a lot of stuff in the lab that are actually powering up the accelerators. I can say that the LHC is already, most sectors are cold, so our activities of course have been impacted, but we are picking up the pace. And I don't, particularly concerning spending, I don't think that there was a big impact in there. So everything is actually picking up at quite a fast pace, even though the people who can telework actually have to stay at home to telework. But as I said earlier, activities in the lab are picking up very at a good pace.
Thank you very much. So we'll pass to the next speaker that I will ask to Niels from ESA just to share the video. I'm going to introduce him. So Cornelis Eldering is head of Space Solutions section with the Innovation and Ventures Office at the European Space Agency. Together with his team, he is responsible for ESA's Space Solution Network, which comprises of ESA's Business Incubation Center, the ESA Technology and Transfer Broker Network, and the ESA Business Application Ambassador Platform. Niels holds a Master of Science in Business Administration from Rotterdam School of Management, where he, in 2003, completed his research on setting up a strategy for the first ESA Business Incubation Center. If you're available, I leave you the floor for 5 minutes, please.
Yes, thank you very much. Can you see my presentation screen?
Yes, yes.
Ah, excellent. So yes, thank you very much for this opportunity. And of course, hi to my colleagues related, of course, to technology transfer business incubation. And of course, I hope I have a meaningful message to tell also for our industrial guests. So ESA Space Solutions, well, maybe to start off, what is important is sometimes we refer to, like our colleagues from CERN also are, as a procurement agency. So basically we procure space development, and we procure in a way also innovation. And we use this procurement approach also to procure innovation in terms of startup companies and technology transfer. If we talk about technology transfer in the context of the European Space Agency and in space in general, what is maybe important to also realize is that this can be both technology transfer, like you transfer a propulsion system into a fire extinguishing solution on Earth, a space propulsion into fire extinguishing on Earth, but also data. So also transferring data, Earth observation and positioning data into products and services, which range from location-based services to Earth observation pictures you can use. And we even had a case last year for COVID-19, a startup company which pivoted and offered a COVID-19 app where people can, with social distances, can see how long the lines are in front of certain stores, so you can better plan your shopping, as an example. So going to the next slide. So what we want to do, if you want to create technology transfer and innovation, you have to go where the potential is. So therefore we have now, since the last 30 years of technology transfer experience, and added up to the 18 years of business incubation experience, a network of local partners, and these can be incubation centers, brokers, or our ambassadors, who can help industry at the place where they are. And that is very helpful, particularly when you support startup companies. And we have more than 90 partners and over 100 professionals dealing with technology transfer and business incubation. And we're really in it for long-term partnerships. So some of our incubation centers are already 15 years operational with the same partner. And yeah, CDTI is our host today. For instance, we have the ISABIC in Madrid. We do it with local partners. So we have a coordinator, which is Madrid Masdi, to give you that examples. And of course, Universidad Polytech Madrid is also one of the partners and supporting our startup companies there alongside the other 3 universities in Madrid. So we really work with local partners in the local context of technology transfer. And that brings me also to an important point, that we do have a patent portfolio where we also do transfer, but the majority of the transfers are really more of a brokerage activity we run, because we know which industrial partners have developed space technology, and we want to broker those with the actual market needs. And to show you a little bit how that works, so basically we identify the source companies who've developed space technology. We identify the market need, so the receiver companies, the companies who would need the space technology solution. And that's where we have a coordinator for us, ESA, but together with our network, our brokers and our ambassadors, we bring those 2 entities together. And so what is very important, my previous colleague from CERN already mentioned it, it is really about the need. So you first look at the non-space market needs, and then you start shopping around in, okay, what do we have in terms of a similar problem we already solved in space? And this, this is typical what technology transfer practitioners do: identify the needs, then look for the solution. It's always a common mistake to fall in love with the solution, but not with the problem. And you have to fall in love with the problem, because then you can really find the right solution. And this is how the network works and how most of us are working. So how do we organize that? So basically, I've a couple of lines of business. We have the technology brokers and the ambassadors, which we dubbed the team network. There we have a track record of more than 340 transfers from the past. And we offer, through various programs in the agency, feasibility, demonstrator calls, spark funding calls to facilitate the brokerage and the matchmaking. Our ambassadors have a little bit of a different role. They're more there to link industry with our programs that directly supports them in terms of business application, meaning the use of space data, the use of space infrastructure. And of course, we organize, like our colleagues, competitions, for instance, the Copernicus Masters and the Galileo Masters have been initiated together with partners also by ESA. And hackathons, of course, we have the Act in Space, which is a very international hackathon where we look at these things as well. Business incubation is a very important line because we see entrepreneurship as a way to do technology transfer. You can do it in two ways, either via licensing, bringing people together, or you create a new company who then actually transfers the technology into a new product, into a new market. So this is our another very strong business line we have. And then we have around us support from our colleagues in the Technology Directorate with respect to ESA's IP portfolio. And of course, we have also a knowledge network with our partners where we have the industrial IP. And at the same time, we also organize with our colleagues investment forums to really link also not just the procurement approach of ESA to technology transfer, but also external investments to then carry on, take over from us, take over from the government, and keep funding the technology transfer. Around us, we have a network of different peers. These can be indeed our friends from CERN and Fusion and EMBL, but also university technology transfer offices, etc., and of course the investment market around us. So what we're trying to do with this is really to offer a fully integrated toolkit, whereby we start, of course, with a local outreach. Who has problems? Did you think about space as a solution for your product or service issues? Then we focus basically on the three target groups. We look at the established companies who are very well aware of how space works. We look at newcomers who have actually no idea that space could actually also give them solutions. And we look at startups. And from there on, we funnel them through the appropriate means to, in the end, of course, reach things we have as a mandate, contribution to the existence also of ESA, which means that we create a good economy for our member states. That's number one. Well-being for our citizens. And of course, that translates also to job creation, growth of Europe's downstream ecosystem, and sustainable development goals. So, bottom line, what we've tried to do is create technology transfer through using a procurement approach. We are a mission-driven big science organization, and as such, we can really roll out a network of incubators, brokers, ambassadors to systematically conduct technology transfer, not just for ESA, but for all of the space industry.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Niels. Belen, any question for Niels?
No questions for Niels at the moment.
Niels, can you just tell us something about the COVID impact in your activities, if you have some changes in your activities for ESA in general, of course?
Yes, no, we definitely saw a slight uptick at the beginning also in terms of applications we got, ideas for technology transfer, and also business ideas for our business incubation centers. Yeah, because people really started to look around, okay, what's happening and how can actually COVID also provide an opportunity for new ideas, how to solve the problem. So we actually saw a slight increase in the number of idea subscriptions we got. And it's really also very encouraging to see that, is it because everybody sits at home and has nothing to do? No, it were really ideas to solve issues because of COVID. And some of them, I am convinced, will be prevailing because after COVID, we will have a low-touch economy. And so many of those ideas do find continuation after COVID as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Paolo, we
Please.
have received a question for Niels. Do ESA think a technology transfer when it launched procurement?
There is indeed, it's true, if you talk about space procurement, yes, we do ask in the contract, is there any other commercial application you might have in mind? And that helps us, of course, then to follow up on certain leads. So it helps us build the portfolio. Of course, maybe it's a quick sidestep. in principle, when we give an assignment to industry to build something for space, we encourage that the intellectual property resides with industry, because we want to boost industry and they can be competitive and licensed on the market, right? In some cases, industry says, no, well, actually, I don't want to license this technology, and then we might license it because we think it's strategically important for our member states. Regardless, we know, of course, what has been developed, who owns the IP, and that's when the brokering starts, because then we can say, hey, we identify a need, and we can broker that with one of the industrial players who developed for us in the procurement a piece of space hardware.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sorry, one more question for you. Do ESA has a team to think of horizontal technology transfer?
Yeah, so it depends a little bit what you mean with horizontal technology transfer. So if it's because then it becomes a bit of a semantic discussion. If it's staying in the same market, it's not so much, in my opinion, technology transfer, but it's just the repositioning of the technology. I mean, technology transfer for me really means that it enters a completely different combination of product factors or sorry, are you still there?
Yeah, we are here. Yeah, please.
Sorry, no, the screen went off. Sorry. So then maybe the person can clarify a little bit better.
Sorry, horizontal means for the person who asked going to other markets.
Yeah, so it's all about that. So in fact, like I give the first example, a propulsion system for a spacecraft has been, for instance, successfully transferred into a fire extinguishing system, which is built in server racks, computer service racks, because you can store the propellant in a solid way instead of under pressure. And that means that you have low maintenance because it stays more stable over many, many years. So it's always about putting it in a different market for us. Yeah.
Okay, I think the last question, what metrics do you use to measure the success of your technology transfer activities?
Yeah, so we have a bit of, it's of course indeed an interesting question. It's a very good question. It's also sometimes difficult to see how far down the benefits go. I can give you an example in a second, but in principle we say if there is a deal between the technology owner, regardless whether that's ESA or somebody in industry, and the technology receiver of more than 40,000 euros in terms of licensing, effort, then we consider it a valid technology transfer. So there has been a real interaction. Yeah, beyond that point, of course, we would love to see the success story. So that's the ultimate acknowledgement that this was a successful technology transfer. But already if you achieve a minimum exchange of funds of 40K, we see that there's a real activity and there's an innovational activity happening between the two partners. But it's a difficult question sometimes, because I remember a long time ago, we had a technology transfer on an algorithm to measure the wind speeds when landing on the surface of Titan, one of the planets of moons of Saturn. Those algorithms were used for a food packaging manufacturer to package potato crisps at a much faster rate, 40%. So we could calculate the benefit it was for the how many more machines the food packaging machine producer was selling, but obviously it also has an advantage for the crisps manufacturing industry, because they have a higher output, less maintenance, less machine, less maintenance. And to start calculating that is still a big challenge. And yeah, something I definitely would like to, I think that we can do a lot of research on that to find out how you can calculate that figure.
Yeah, one more question, sorry. As well as procurement of technology and innovation, are you also responsible for procurement of related IT and incubator infrastructure facilities, such as IT equipment, containment, enclosures, and data center facilities?
So if it's typically about business incubation, so our startup facilities, we really work as a partnership. So we fund, let's say, the execution of the incubation center, who's then making contracts with the startup companies and report back to us. So we make sure because we offer 50,000 euros to be sort of the first customer of a startup company. So the company has to use this funding to build the product for us, but in the end, we're not going to do anything with it. They have to sell it to the market. So we do remunerate for that effort, but in the end, it's a partnership. So our partner, the local partner who's executing the ISA Big, they also have to contribute financially to run the ISA Big. So our partners are also contributing. I would say on average, 1/3 comes from the agency and 2/3 is paid by local partners. These are regional economic development agencies, universities who are working together with us, those kind of entities. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, thank you. I think this is the last question. What are the most innovative projects you have recently supported related to tackling climate change by using space solutions?
Yeah, so indeed, sustainable, this is a very good question indeed. So there are many, of course, many examples where we talk about sustainable development, but notably, for instance, is also the fact that we, of course, can use, maybe that's more data related, but in the field of Earth observation, we have a lot of applications which really look into monitoring deforesting and those kind of things in a very responsible way, or using less water, for instance, for agriculture in areas where you don't have so much water. And that also tackles, by the way, a migration issue, because if you can make land more fertile in regions where you have desertification, you make sure that the economic development in those regions can continue, and not that region completely dries out, not just because of water, not just in terms of the soil, but also people leaving because there is no economic advantage to stay there. So I think that those things are really impactful. In terms of technology, I have to admit, do I have something very from the top of my head? Well, classic is, of course, solar cells. As you know, the production of solar cells can be very pollutive. But there's, of course, always the story of the rucksack effect. So the more sustainable, in terms of the more survivable you make a solar cell, the lesser the pollution is. So, or how do you call it? The pollution is spread out over a much longer period that the solar cell can work than over a shorter period. So you pollute relatively less. So having durable materials, which you have to have in space because you cannot maintain those things in space, they have to be very durable, means that you're polluting on a lower level. So that could be an interesting example.
Thank you, Nils. I think that we need to move to the next, to the last speaker. Thank you very much, Nils, anyway. And the next speaker is Jurgen from EMBL, and I invite him to share the video. And I introduce him. Jurgen Bauer has more than 22 years of experience in successful business development and technology transfer. As of May 2011, he is appointed as Deputy Managing Director and Head of Business Development at Technology Transfer, the commercial arm of the European Molecular Biology Laboratory, EMBL. He is responsible for translation of scientific results from the EMBL into commercial products via industry partnership, collaboration, licensing, and company building. He is a graduate of Johann Wolfgang Goethe University in Frankfurt, biology, and holds a PhD in molecular biology. I leave the floor to Jurgen for 5 minutes, please.
Okay, thank you, Paolo. Can you hear me? Okay, and can you see my screen?
It is fine, you can go.
Okay, perfect, thanks very much. Thank you also to the organizers to inviting me to this session. I'm representing the European Molecular Biology Laboratory, which is the Europe's Center of Excellence in fundamental research in molecular biology. And before talking about tech transfer and how we deal with tech transfer at the Institute, I will give you a snapshot of what EMBL is about. And here just some numbers on the first slides. The institute had been founded in 1974. In the meanwhile, we have 27 member states. More than 1,800 people are working across 6 different centers. And we contribute to the European, but also to the worldwide scientific ecosystem by providing a number of services, being it data services via our institute in Hingston, Cambridge, or via our different core facilities, which are open to external users. EMBL is also driven by missions. Overall, EMBL has 5 missions. I will focus today on the core mission, doing excellent research in molecular biology, in fundamental research in the life sciences. And this distinguishes the institute probably from our colleagues of the different IRO forum members and big science institutions. So our people are mainly actively running their own research project in life sciences, but there are 2 other missions which impact and affect the tech transfer at the institute. First of all, the provision of scientific services to the scientists within the institute, but also to the scientists worldwide, and in particular to the member state scientists. And of course, the 4th mission, which is innovation and translation. Coming to the main mission, the fundamental research, this is not only, of course, driven, or it is driven by the curiosity of the scientists, but at the same time, it has a long-term impact on society at large and health. This is illustrated just by a small example relating to the Nobel Prize, which had been granted to Jacques Dubochet recently for his work in the 80s on understanding the principles and developing methods around cryo-electron microscopy. This work later has been basically used, of course, by many scientists all around the world. EMBL scientists have used it to better understand the certain proteins of the encephalitis virus. And this work later on then had been taken up by pharma industry to develop better vaccines. Another example for our impact on the society via tech transfer is basically this snapshot of the services the institute is providing to the outside world. We have more than 63 million daily web requests at the EBI in Hingston, at the data services, the databases which are available to the life science community. We host more than 4,000 scientists, external users in our imaging and structural biology facilities, which are mainly located at our sites in Grenoble on the ESRF campus, in Hamburg on the DESI campus, and a big imaging facility which is hosted here in Heidelberg. And of course, we have more than 1,000 external visitors to our core facilities, which span in a year, which span typically genomics facilities, proteomics facilities, so all major technologies areas in the life sciences. How do we basically manage the creation of value from the basic research at EMBL for the society at large? We understand this as a mission which we should basically tackle at all levels, right? So for this purpose, EMBL has created an affiliate company in 1999, where we now basically are running with 9 people, serving the entire EMBL Institute over all 6 sites. In the meanwhile, we have generated a portfolio of really a number of inventions leading to patents, patent applications, trademarks, and so copyrights, and so on and so forth. And we basically serve the tech transfer mission at all levels. And this, I think this is a very important point, that we include, of course, protecting IP, which is generated by our scientists in either only at the institute, but in many cases together with our partners in industry and academia out there. We create startup companies. We basically build, we help building public-private partnerships, big partnerships with pharma industry, for instance. We run numerous collaborations with companies, not only on drug or medicine-related projects, but also on development of products, on instrumentation around applications like structure biology and imaging. We support our tech transfer information, tech transfer activities by providing funds, internal proof of concept funds available to our scientists to reach proof of concept state, or basically improve the technology readiness level of our projects. And of course, we provide different means to exchange knowledge with the industry, but also with the academic community. So this, but the core, I think for today, the core is that we have an open culture. We call it open innovation culture, inviting companies to jointly develop new technologies, new instruments with us, based on EMBL, enabling platforms, EMBL technology, or the other way around, on technologies available from the companies. Just one snapshot, one example, basically, is a partnership which we have established with the imaging company Leica, which gives a typical example in the end how such a collaboration works. So originally in around 2010 to 2015, basically, Leica provided us with certain imaging instrumentation microscopes, and an important topic was, how can we correlate and combine imaging at different levels? So there the task was, how can we combine and correlate between the images we obtain in light microscopy to the images we obtain from electron microscopy? So, and then together with developers from Leica, the scientists at EMBL, they basically developed jointly technologies, instruments, which enabled the transfer of a sample, handling of sample, transfer of sample from one microscope to the other, so that it was really possible to basically correlate what we see with one instrument to what we saw with the others. And then based on this work, then what these people did together, and this was then the main work, of course, of the company, to turn these prototypes, which had been developed by the EMBL people, into products, which then were sold to the larger community. And this is a typical example how we work. In the meanwhile, we have built a dedicated building, the EMBL Imaging Center, we call it, here in Heidelberg, which will be open this year, actually, and which will host the scientific community from our member states and companies in an open innovation concept, where we invite all these people to work together, not with instruments which are already done, available from the shelf, but really with prototypes from the companies, where both worlds can basically work together to turn these prototypes into products. And with this, I would like to thank you again for your attention, and I'm happy to take questions.
Please, Belen, any question to Jurgen?
No, yet, no questions by the moment.
I mean, just the general question that we are giving to everybody. Which was the impact of COVID pandemic in your activity?
Yeah, as you can imagine, as a life science institute, the COVID pandemic had two major impacts. First of all, of course, the negative ones, which we all see every day, social distancing. We had to reduce the lab forces to implement certain measures that we had less people in the labs. But foremost, there was the positive impact in a sense that we have started more than 20 COVID-related research projects, really spanning from structure biology, imaging projects to mechanistic projects, producing specific enzymes which are needed in the PCR testing. So, for example, we were elucidating and solving structures of the spike protein when docked to the host cell. And this information was basically transferred into the public to make it available to the pharma companies developing now the pharmaceutical solutions. We have worked with BioNTech on structure biology projects to help them working on the vaccine. We have provided epidemiological information via EBI, via our database related institute, which has been made available to the politicians, to the public health authorities, which are now included in the typical measures we see every day. So I think there was quite substantial impact on EMBA.
Thank you for this important support to win the pandemic. That is really important right now. I just think that we can, for the roundtable, I will adjust to if speakers can just switch on the video. So just to thank them, I would like to thank Jurgen Bauer from EMBL, Nils Endering from ESA, Victor Seitz from Fusion for Energy, and Nick Siogas from CERN. I think that they were a really important contribution. It was really important that we put together different kinds of experience and activities in technology transfer from different big science organizations. This kind of initiative are what the industries, companies are looking for in order to build something like a common market on big science organizations. So I want to thank all of you. I'm quite sure that we continue this kind of approach and this kind of speech and this kind of collaboration. And I pass the floor to Jorge. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Paolo. It was an excellent tour of the table from big science organizations. It was a great overview about what is going on those organizations driving and managing technology transfer. Thank you very much. Now we are going to jump into what we are going to do in the into the Big Science Business Forum about technology transfer. As you know, our intention is that we are going to settle what we call technology transfer track in the Big Science Business Forum. It is no more than an initiative to make technology transfer happen. So our intention is to put together the people that has the knowledge, the technology, with the people that has the need. It was mentioned by several big science organizations that it's all about that, to put the connection of the people that has the technology with the people that has the need and the market, and then let them talk openly, privately, wherever. So this is the key objective of this technology transfer track. From the point of view also from industry that has developed a technology in their answer to a procurement requirement, or from the point of view of big science organization in which they have developed a technology in their new facilities or new knowledge going to the age of technology. Okay, how does it work? How does the technology transfer track work? It is very simple. It all starts by technology transfer proposals. Everyone registered and participated in the Big Science Business Forum will have the right, if they are interested, to submit technology transfer proposals. So any type of participant, industry, research institution, big science organization, academia, everyone which is going to be registered. How and when? How? Using what we call technology transfer template. It's a PowerPoint template with a few slices showing and giving an introduction about its technology. When? At the time of BSBF registration. So if you are going to register, when you are going to register, you give your data and the system asks you if you want to submit a technology transfer proposal, and then you can send a PDF version of this PowerPoint with a brief explanation of your technology. Okay, what we are going to do in the organization with those technology transfer proposals? We are going to have an independent evaluation with different bodies, and then a final decision will be taken by the International Organization Committee on a final selection of proposals that are going to be incorporated into the technology transfer track of the BSBF. How is going to be evaluated? It is going to be evaluated by based on quality and also on relevance for the big science market. Very important. And the final list is going to be public in the web, and this is going to be the proposals made by companies or whatever institution to be publicly known as the BSBF technology transfer track, and this will be public by the next early bird deadline. What will happen if you have been selected as a technology transfer proposal? First, you will have the right to have a meeting in the program scheduled about your technology, and you will be able to show your technology in detail to a limited audience interested in your technology, because it is going to be public. All interested people will have the right to be in this. So you will have a podium to interested people in that technology showing your technology. Then at this moment, these two bodies get connected, and then technology transfer could occur. Also, for those proposals selected, we'll have a specific area in the floor, in the ground floor, with the posters panels in which you are going to be advertised there, and everyone will be able to read your technology transfer proposal and then contact you, because the contact data will be there as well. And much more advantages that I will go into the detail. So, as I mentioned, technology transfer proposals should cover a brief description of your technology, by which you will be able to include an abstract text of your technology, a picture, also an original application field, Idpr status, other potential fields of application and impact, a SWOT analysis of the technology. This is optional. And not last but not least, the contact point and basic information for the people to contact you about this technology.
Okay, so I take over here then.
Okay.
Jorge, if the audio maybe comes back, you can reconnect. So as Jorge was saying, the proposals have to cover the abstract of the technology, original application field, the Idpr status, and the SWOT analysis of the proposal. And all the technology transfer proposals will be published on the Congress webpage. They will be available to all the delegates, and they will be used for the selection of the technology transfer program and posters. So this means that not only the proposals that will be part of the selection and selected will be available, but the rest as well. The selection will be performed by an independent evaluation of all the technology transfer proposals, and we will take into account different criteria like the quality of the proposals, the potential impact, the fields of applications, the balance between different research infrastructures. We will choose primes and also SMEs, try to have a balance between both, and the relevance. And the IOC will decide the final list of selected technology transfer proposals. Then the meetings, the proposals that will be selected will have specific meetings in the BSBF, in the actual BSBF events. And these will be meetings with a limited audience of up to 10 people, in which what we want is the owner of the technology transfer proposal to present the technology, to present the opportunity to different parties who are interested. And we really want these meetings to be productive and to have some kind of outcome and for technology transfer to actually happen in BSBF. So the meetings will be published in the agenda of BSBF across. There will be meetings across all the 2 days of BSBF during day 1 and during day 2. And you will be able to access the meeting agenda in the BSBF web page. And we will also include some posters. There will be a big poster area right beside the technology transfer meeting rooms and the B2B and the big B2B meeting rooms. And in this poster area, you will participants will be able to access the technology transfer proposals which have been selected, and be able to, with the QR code, download the information in their smartphones and engage in contact with the participants and so on. So I think this will be very interesting as well. So the advantages for the proposals selected to the technology transfer track will be, they will be published in the Congress website and application. As I said, they will be included in the technology transfer posters, and they will have a slot, a dedicated and specific slot in the technology transfer meetings to present the proposal. The first 5 ranked proposals will be granted with 1 free invitation to the gala dinner. And the first ranked technology transfer proposal will be invited to participate in the closure plenary session of BSBF. And finally, all the selected technology transfer proposals will be given a label recognition in their batch and list of participants. We want to kind of give a special recognition to the ideas that we think are most interesting and have the best potential to derive in actual technology transfer happening in the Congress. So this is the template for the proposals. It is very simple. You have to fill in an abstract which includes what the technology is based on. You can include figures or whatever. Then there is the original and potential field of application. On the left side, the proposer has to explain how he originally developed this technology. And on the right side, what are the potential fields of application? Very simple. And finally, an analysis of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats could be interesting, but this is optional. It is not compulsory to fill this in order to submit a proposal. Important issues like IPR status and contact information. Proposals should fill in what is the status of IPR? Is there any kind of patent which is protecting the technology? Here you have an example of one of the technologies that is already submitted in our technology transfer web page of BSBF. You can download this presentation and see an example of a filled-in template by a research organization. So, well, I'm not going to go through it. Here you can see the description of the technology, the original field of application in which CERN explains the technology, in which context it was developed, and possible new applications as well, the SWOT analysis, and then the IPR status, and the very important a contact person, because it would be very interesting if we have meetings and exchange of information prior to the Congress. All this information is available now, and basically that's it.
Javier, thank you very much for taking over, because I already solved my audio problems, but I'm pretty sure you cover the presentation properly. Thank you very much, Javier.
Okay, Jorge.
We are a little bit out of schedule. We are it's 11:24, and I think with deep regret, because I prepared a very sexy and a very nice interactive Slido pool. We are going to skip the Slido pool, and we are going to jump immediately to the next part of the webinar, which is the technology transfer from industry to research infrastructures. So is there any question from the point of view of technology transfer track based on the presentation that Javier has performed?
Jorge, there was a question about the companies that have been selected last year. Do they have to apply again, or their application is still valid?
Okay, very good point. The proposals that has been submitted as technology transfer proposals are on the web as proposals, but they has not been yet selected. The selection is not yet been done. They are all tentative technology transfer proposals, but the final decision is not yet done. So they don't have to submit it again unless they would like to update it. If they would like to update it, it is fine to send it again, and then we will update the web. So for all potential participants in the BSBF, we encourage you to go to the Javier. Would you please stop sharing your screen? We encourage you to send your proposals, and all will be on the web, but only some of them will be considered as final technology transfer proposals for the program. Okay, any other question, Belen, or we can jump into the next section?
Yeah, there is one more question. When will the early bird dates be set or announced? Maybe we can address this question at the end of the...
Yes, currently the calendar of the BSBF is public on the web of the BSBF, so you can consult this. But in any case, be alert to the last part of the webinar, in which we'll have an announcement regarding calendar things. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Please, Jorge, can you show again the Slido code?
Yes, but the question is that we are not going to make the Slido pool, so
okay.
No problem, but we are not going to do it.
Okay.
So there's no reason for doing it, because we are a little bit out of schedule. Now I think we are going to jump into the next section of the webinar, which is the point of view of industry, very valuable one, especially the ones that has been selected because they have already sent proposals to the technology transfer track. And this gives them the floor to share their experience of technology transfer, and also why they decided to go for a technology transfer track and be public to all of you on their technology. The first in the row is going to be Stephen Kyle from T6. Thank you very much, Stephen, because I know that you have been some little problems to be with us. I'm really happy to see you, and also to making the effort to have this participation. We really appreciate it. So Steve, the floor is yours. Go ahead and share your screen with your presentation.
Good morning. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Stephen Culhane, Managing Director of Ty6 Limited. We're a small SME. We work with advanced materials to pioneer lighter, greener aircraft and spacecraft components. So we worked with a number of the groups mentioned today. So this little tube here, many who've seen me before will have seen it. It's about the same weight as a packet of crisps, but it will carry 2 Range Rovers, an African elephant, about 5 metric tons. It's an amazing material. Nothing else in the world will do that. And we're about the only company in the world making this material. So this is where we have some great technology, but we need great science to help us develop that. So we make silicon carbide fiber, the reinforcement that is used to strengthen metals to give them this very, very high compressive and tensile performance. We combine those fibers with titanium or aluminium generally. We can filament wind, which I'll come on to in a moment, to make very strong net shape or very near net shape components using diffusion bonding. We've worked with a lot of research agencies, ESA, so satellites, Airbus is research capability, UK Space Agency, as well as a number of companies, and certainly a lot of universities in the UK and elsewhere in Europe. I'm going through fairly rapidly. It is a very high performance material. It's about twice the specific performance of most other metals, which means you can get lighter components with the same strength and same capability of other materials. We're using this and targeting decarbonizing aviation, the green agenda, and it's just mentioned by one of the speakers earlier. How does their help get decarbonization and greener economy? Well, helping companies like us that does that. So landing gear, wing components, engine components, future hydrogen storage, which has come out of our work with space, European Space Agency on pressure vessels, and then future aerodynamics and high efficiency aircraft. Sorry, let me go through. So we make the fiber, we developed that with the UK Research and Innovation Centre. ESA were developing a roboticized metal matrix composite system to make pressure vessels, complex shapes with fiber reinforced metals. Very, very important capability that is enabled through work with ESA. We're looking at developing digitized technology and how we bring digital manufacturing in to make us more efficient, more economically viable, and then making sure future processing is an efficient factory of the future. So we're clean in how we make things. Typically what we do is we look at a component, we do coupon testing, so a lot of work with research institutes on coupon testing, scale that up and then get to sort of subscale components. And that way we can develop technology that can actually be used, which is obviously the driver for us as a business. So little things. So how can we do things cleverly? Find a problem, solve that problem. How much fuel could we fit into a fuel tank? Well, we took away the pipe work by combining things as a net shaped part and really increased fuel in a satellite pressure vessel by about 30%. Making robotics. So this is looking at lightweight robotics for space, but a titanium composite robotic system could be equally valuable for the ITER project, where titanium has some very useful properties in terms of radiation, half-life, and that side of things. So we have worked with the ITER program through the Stephen Joseph Institute in, oh, jeepers, can't remember where it is now, to look at how combining our fiber into metals helps and could give different materials for heat shields in the ITER program. Working with CERN and Manchester to look at how our material behaves in CERN's facilities and give us a deeper understanding of the effects of the fiber and the metals. Really, really useful for us for taking this technology forward, creating lighter components and hopefully helping decarbonize greener future for all of us. So that work with the large science facilities is immensely important to a company like us, and how we will go forward. Great team. Sorry, very, very quick. Jorge, I hope that was fast enough for you and gave you the information you were looking for. Any other questions from anyone, please, either today or come back to us later. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you very much for your presentation and also for participating actively in the BSBF technology transfer track. We really appreciate that you were submitting your technology transfer proposal. And we hope that you will be selected, and we hope that you will have plenty of people interested in your technology.
Thank you.
Our next speaker today is going to be Raúl Amereil. from Leading, is a very challenging and active Spanish company. Also, Leading is one of the companies that has submitted technology transfer proposals to the BSBF technology transfer track. And we are really pleased to have Raúl with us today. Raúl, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jorge, and thank you, Cedeti, for the opportunity. Okay, I'll try to be brief. We are already tired for the whole session. Okay, Leading is located in the north of Spain. Okay, here in the pink dot. Okay, so we are very close to the French border. Okay. That's why you can see such a green landscape in our region, okay? This is a general overview of our different workshops, and we are planning for the next year to increase even more the surface, okay? A general presentation of our company, very close. We are, you can see, we are divided into different business units. This is the machining and welding unit. This is the beryllium machining unit. This is leading innovation for the management and engineering of all the complex projects that we develop. EPS is an innovative metering system for oil and gas, okay, solutions. And the last one is the auxiliary services for the industry for third companies, okay. Also, general figures of our company, the average turnover is around 30 million euros during each year, okay, and the average workers are around 250, 270, okay. Only as to close the presentation, we offer for complex projects, for large scientific facilities, we offer the complete and integrated mechanical solutions. Okay, we integrate a lot of capacities, okay, in order to offer you turnkey projects. Okay, this is several pictures. Precision machining on the top picture. Precision machining of big parts. Welding as well. And we have a clean assembly room for specialized projects, okay? So, related to the technology transfer, my proposal for the BSBF is the beryllium machining, okay, which I am responsible. Beryllium is a very rare metal with a lot of interesting and unusual properties. Okay, very material preferred for aerospace, military, or nuclear industries. But there is a problem because with the machining, beryllium does produce toxic dust. Okay, so that's why we have to machine beryllium in a very specialized facilities, a specialized workshop, dedicated workshop for beryllium machining. Okay. Speaking about the beryllium properties, lightweight, density is 1.85. That means 22% lighter than aluminum, and also with 300 stiffter, so with a lot of much better mechanical properties. Okay, there is also a good thermal conductivity, dimension stability with thanks for the lightweight, low inertia mass, and X-ray transparency. So related to big science industry, the typical applications of beryllium are, for example, beryllium reflectors for nuclear reactors, instrumentation for neutron sources, heat shields, for example, beryllium tiles for the first wall panel Idpr, and optics and photonics instrumentations, like, for example, laser mirrors, infrareds, and so on, okay? The presentation of our facilities this slide is only to show you that there is divided into two main areas: no restricted areas and restricted areas. Restricted areas is specifically the machining workshop. Okay, the non-restricted areas is where we do cleaning, the cleaning task and changings and all the auxiliary things. Okay, this is the picture of our Beryllium Workshop. Okay, he's exactly behind in my back. Okay, and I would say that the three main characteristics of our Beryllium Workshop is the facilities are very modern. As you can see, it's the last generation of the beryllium facilities. We have an experience over 10 years of management and handling of beryllium, and we have the plans for new equipment for this year. Okay, related in our machining capacities, we have two main machines: a machining center, a 6-axis machining center in the middle, the big one, machine in the center, and the back part, in the left back part of the picture, the VDM cutting machine. Okay, the rest of the workshop is dedicated for assembly and working zone. And the security measures are very extreme and very important for our workers and for us, because we assure 100% of safety levels in our industry. Inside the workshop, there is inside a negative pressure to keep all the beryllium dust inside the workshop. The machining center is everything sealed, the cover and the doors. And as you can see in the next slide, all our workers have autonomous breath system and very prepared with all the material oriented for such an activity. Okay. Related with some examples that we have done during the last years, related with beryllium especially, and also a little bit with other references from science contracts. Okay, the most important project is a contract that we have that we won at the end of the last year. This is the series production of the first wall panels for the Idpr Tokamok assembly chamber. Okay, this is as for example, this is the Tokamok fusion reactor chamber. Okay, and the first wall panels is more or less like the wall in the Game of Thrones series. Okay, it's the last border or the first border, the first frontier to keep and to confine the fusion reaction inside the Tokamok assembly. Okay, reactor. Okay, this is in more details. You can see here how is these are the pictures from our prototype system, the prototype panels that we made for this contract, and the European Union must to deliver around 200 panels like this in the next 8 years. So as I told you, we have been awarded with this series production, okay, for the next years. Also, for the ITER assembly, we are involved in the dynamic company with other very big companies of France and Italy for the ITER assembly in Carrera, okay, of all the Tokamok machine, okay. Other typical application of beryllium components is our work for the ISIS neutron and muon source in the UK, in the, for this facility for this facility in the United Kingdom. Okay, we have supply a beryllium reflector. It's a project that took us all the machining around 1 year. Okay, we received different bulk materials, and we have around 700 kilos, and we machine to supply a final weight around 450 kilos. So the difference, 250, is more or less the kilos that we have been machining during these different stages. Okay, and this is how it looks at the end with the final test. Okay. So this technology also applies to other beryllium reflectors for research reactors all over the world. Okay, we are involved in other confidential projects, but it's an example, okay, of what we can do and we can offer for beryllium machining. Also, we have a cooperation with ESS Bilbao to supply in-kind components for the ESS Lund in Sweden. We have a typical cooperation project is we do a part of engineering, then we also develop the drawings and we manufacture the prototype. And at the end, that give us the possibility to prepare the proposal for the production series. As for example, this one, we have been awarded with this for this part with the production series. Okay. This is other examples of prototypes that we have been developed for the last 2-3 years. Also, yeah, I am concluding. This is other transfer example for beryllium machining. This is the machining of beryllium mirrors. As I told you, there are a lot of high-tech examples of applications specialized, for example, satellites, thanks for the very big thermal stability that beryllium offers. Laser optics, this is more focused for the low mass inertial moment of the beryllium. Applications in galvanometers, infrareds, and so on. Okay. And this is an example. This is an example of top application. We don't have to do. We are not related with this example, of course, but this is the top application of beryllium mirrors. This is for the James Webb Space Telescope. This is maybe you have information about this because it's very, very famous, and it has been the launch of this system has been delayed several months, and the new target is the 31 of October. But it's very famous, thanks for the gold plating of all the beryllium segments. Okay, you can see, I think there are 16 segments of beryllium. The substrate of these beryllium mirrors is made of beryllium, and this yellow color is due to the gold plating. Okay, that gives the possibility for the polish the optical surface. This is my contact. I will be very happy if I receive preliminary consultants of you have without compromise. Okay, thank you. And if you have questions.
Thank you very much, Raúl. Thank you very much for your presentation, explaining the applications of beryllium technology and your capabilities. It was extremely interesting. Thank you very much. Now, without delay, we are going to jump into the last speaker formal speaker of today, also representing industry. He's going to be Miguel Carrera from Added Value Solutions, ABS. Not only because he's also one of the participants in our BSBF technology transfer track with proposals, also because ABS is one of our sponsors. Thank you very much, Miguel, to having with us. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Jorge. Thank you very much, CTI. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm using my phone for this, so it's quite weird, but I try to do it like that. So thank you very much again, Jorge, and CTI for this opportunity. I will try to give you an overview on the capabilities of ABS, or where ABS stands right now in the market, and also give you an example on a very particular, very specific thing that we managed to transfer from CERN to medical device, which I think it's important to sorry about that. So ABS is a global SME. Our headquarters are based in Guipúzcoa, in the Basque Country, in the north of Spain. We have other sites around Spain, in Valencia, Madrid, Seville, and in Tenerife. And we are also very strongly based in France, in Oxford, and in New York. We mainly tender. We tender internationally right now in 25 countries, and we have managed to be successful in many technologies. We normally tender for concepts, then we convince on the solution we try to propose in the tender, and from then on we take over the full process of the project, from the concept, detail design, analysis, fabrication, test, and delivery. We have a very extensive know-how that we try and we manage to bring in the different sectors or segments in the science, industry, and space. So mainly we focus ourselves on very critical systems that need to work with high specs regarding reliability and precision, and they need to move in very, very complex environment, like ultra-high vacuum. Sorry about that. Like ultra-high vacuum, high magnetic fields, and radiation environments. As I said, we managed to bring in all this technology in the different sectors. It's been quite a while that we have been successful in all these fields, and we managed, as I said, to be active with very strong and cutting-edge projects in the 7 fields that we touch. And let me go through an example in each of these fields in order for you to see our capabilities. So this is a very good example of our capabilities in fusion. We won at the end of 2019 the contract. It's a 14 million euros contract for the production of the beamline components for the Metic beam source, and this is the biggest project we have won so far, and we are very enthusiastic about it, given that it is not only a prototype, it will bring in also a series afterwards. So we are very focused on doing our best in this project. Also, we are very active in the circuitry industry. We have sold equipment all over the world through AVS and also for our subsidiary in the US. And this is an example of one of the most repeated projects in AVS that is nearly a product already, which is a small angle scattering instrument. This was the first one that we made for the ESRF, and then we made the same for Brazil. We have made the same for the US, and we are again quoting more for the US and Sweden, etc. So again, high vacuum, high precision, very big instruments in this case. Very active. In fact, this was our first, well, neutrons were the first focus of AVS. We started off developing instruments for the ISIS neutron source in the UK. And afterwards, we have been active in selling instruments all over the world regarding neutron science. And that's ILL, HZB in Berlin. We have been also in the various neutron sources in the US. And right now, again, we are very active in the ESS, both through ESS Bilbao with a monolith vessel for the target and the drive unit for the target, and also through the contributions we have won, the Swiss contribution, we have won the UK contribution in the different instruments that have been tendered so far. And again, we are very active. In this case, you can see the Thales instrument, which is a triple axis instrument for the ILL. This was a contribution of the Czech Republic for the ILL. Regarding trying to implement our know-how in the most possible sectors, this is a new, well, sort of new large facilities regarding high power lasers that are being developed in the Europe and also in China and in the US. We have been very active in selling this equipment. We have done beam transports also for Salamanca, for the CLPU, the CLPU, and also for the LI in Prague and LI in Romania, developing, as I said, beam transport that is with big mirrors, transporting high power lasers, and also interaction chambers where the actual lasers collide. Regarding astronomy, we have developed various instruments for different telescopes in the world. This specific example is the Universidad, well, this from the Universidad Complutense, the contribution that they won for the GTC, the Great Telescope of the Canary Islands. It's a multi-object spectrograph in which AVS developed the front end, that is 100 independent robots moving around, trying to focus on different targets in the sky. So this was a very good example of our capability in robotic handling of very small fibers around, and with a full synchronization of all of them. And last but not least, this is our participation in the Perseverance rover. We developed the wind sensors for the MEDA instruments and also the calibration target for the SuperCam instrument. And hopefully everything will go well. It's landing today or tonight at 10 o'clock our time. So we'll see how it goes today. So, well, these are facilities. Of course, we have the facilities in place in order to develop all these projects, large and small and medium and clean rooms for the development of the different projects that you have seen. So regarding then going straight to the point to the technology transfer, in 2010, we identified an opportunity in an accelerator called ISOLDE at CERN. We saw that they will need in the future many things, and one of them was a device to diagnose the quality and the shape and the emittance of the beam. And we started off an R&D project with the CDTI, with the support of the CDTI, in order to develop our capabilities, in order to be prepared to for Isolde when Isolde were to happen. So we developed this device that was tested by the CERN people, and we're very happy on the performance. We managed to, as I said, to close the loop of the beam, and we managed to develop a prototype that was tested, it was approved. After that, we managed to win the series for the Isolde accelerator at that time, and this is the series implemented in the accelerator. In this case, they had to be very, very narrow. There were inter-client module diagnostics, and they had difficulty regarding the engineering and the precision, etc., etc. So as I said, we managed to do the job, and so far so good. So this is where normally ABS gets, that is to develop a turnkey system for a public tender. In this case was a single public tender, then was a series. So that would be our normal way of work. But at that time, CERN was licensing their technology on proton therapy to Upm, and then this became a company that is called AVO, Advanced Oncotherapy, which is based in the UK. So they licensed the whole technology for proton therapy, and they were also convinced, and they saw our capabilities on the diagnostics, the D boxes that we made for Isolde, and this suddenly came for us as a new sector for us, a new way of selling in series products for the medical device industry. So right now we are within the specification of the light accelerator of AVO for the diagnostics of the beam. So this gives what are, well, the main specs or the main characteristics or the main added value of ABS to this accelerator is a compact and high precision device for the diagnostic of the beam that we made. And I think this is a good example of taking the opportunity of demonstrating capabilities on a cutting edge facility as CERN, and then bringing that with the help of CERN to the more scalable market, like is the medical device market. So that's it. I will be very happy to answer any questions, and well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Miguel Angel. It was an impressive use of mobile technology for the presentation. We really appreciate your participation and also the effort of ABS on bringing innovation and technology transfer to the big science market. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, now we are going to go to our last part because we are a little bit tired. But this is just a message to all of the industry and all of the potential participants in the BSBF. If you would like to have the same kind of podium or same kind of visibility of your technology in the BSBF, go to the webpage.
Okay, I think we are now going to pass to the last part of the webinar. So Roberto, can you please take the floor?
I would like first to apologize for the technical problems. We have had a number of issues with the voice. I just wanted to close this this webinar by saying that for us, technology transfer is a very important part for the industry of science. I think I hope you have found this this webinar interesting. I think especially the roundtable has been very good. There are a lot of ideas and discussion. Last thing I would like to share with you is that we have important announcement for today, is that we have been clearly assessing the situation created by the pandemic. I'm referring to the BSBF. I think we came to the conclusion that under the current circumstances, in September this year, the dates that we have selected for the event were too close to the development of the pandemic. So in coordination with the International Organizing Committee of the organizations for the BSBF, have decided to postpone the BSBF to next year, to 2022. We are very sorry for the inconveniences for this decision. But we believe that the current circumstances didn't allow us to go for the kind of event that we have designed. In particular, for what concerns the let's say B2B and the physical interactions that were the heart and soul of this event. So we believe that hopefully, and we have to cross our fingers, next year the situation with the pandemic will be much better. That's what we hope. We expect the vaccination process to be in much better shape than it is today, so we can have the kind of event that we had initially designed. There will be a formal announcement in the following days, so please stay tuned in our web and your email, and you will receive all the details concerning the specific dates for the celebration of this BSBF 2022 next year. We intend to have it in around the same dates that were selected for 2021 and 2022. That means end of September next year, but please stay tuned for the official announcement in this regard and the conditions applied for all participants. We will continue having activity in the web for the BSBF, so please also stay tuned for future meetings, webinars, or actions that we take through this mean. So nothing else. I just would like to thank you for being there. And if you want to share with us your feelings, your comments, or let's say opinions on this webinar and ideas for future meetings or actions, please let us know. So thank you very much, and goodbye. Stay safe.
Goodbye, everybody, and thank you to all speakers for their participation and contribution. Thank you to Paolo. Thank you for all big science organizations, also UPM, and all three industries. Thank you very much. It was a great event made possible because of your contribution. Great. And please stay tuned for the official announcement of the new dates for the 2022 BSBF.